We're continuing spring cleaning of ourselves on the Moll Anderson Show, and I'm so happy to bring on now the author of Who Are You Meant to Be, Dr. Dranitsaris. Hi, Anne.
Hi, how are you today?
I am very excited to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm so enamored with this title because one of my most favorite sayings is, it's never too late to be who you were meant to be.
Absolutely. Our brains are wired to keep growing and developing all throughout our lifespan. So finding out more about ourselves is a journey that takes us the whole of our life to get there.
It does. It is a process, and it never ends. And I tell you, when I was turning, I'm now 53, when I was turning 40 and having a moment, one of my dear friends who was turning 60, I had two girlfriends, one who was turning 50, one who was turning 60. We're all, 10 years apart. And I said to the one who was turning 60, I said, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm 40. And she looked at me and she said, do you realize that you have 20 of the years that I just said goodbye to, and I'm getting ready to go to graduate school? And I felt so stupid. I went, it was like she gave me 20 years. It was like,
she did.
It was like, wow. And now I'm 53, and I'm thinking, there's no end to what you can do if you quit seeing it as you're almost done.
Right, and that there's some sort of race to the finish line, that we have to be perfectly evolved by the time we're, 25 or 30, when we're actually just getting used to being an adult and, basically putting our foot in the water for the first time. It's not really until our 40s that we're really comfortable in our own skin, if we're lucky enough to, have that orientation toward growth and development.
Well, and do you think that, the old thinking was retirement, I want to get to a certain place so I can retire and be done and just lay around. I mean, those days have changed, but honestly, I don't know why anybody wants to retire and lay around. I mean, there's so many great things to do.
Absolutely, but not everybody's brain is wired to want to do different things. Studies are now showing that the more routine you get into in your life, the more likely you are to become rigid in both thought and action. And so if you're starting from that place of, I like my world to be safe and I like my world to be small, by the time you hit 40, that's all you're looking forward to is that time when you just don't have to do anything at all and nothing is expected of you. And so our circumstances in our society now are no longer supporting that way of thinking. And to a certain extent, it's great news because people are more challenged then to really figure out different ways of satisfying themselves and challenging themselves to go into different careers at an older age.
Well, I love this. Who are you meant to be?
Meant to be.
I love that. Now, you say there are 8 different ways that we're wired to seek satisfaction. Now, I know, I don't want to use up all our time going through all 8. Plus, I want people to go and read the book.
Yes.
But just give me...
I like that, too.
I know. But just give me a couple. Just throw a couple out there.
Okay, so when we talk about 8 different ways to love, as it were, 8 different romance styles, all of our emotions are channeled through different functions in our brain, and we have one of those functions, or one of, as we call them, striving styles, that we like to use and that we're wired to use more than the other. And so for example, an example of one is the performer. And the performer has the predominant need is to be recognized. And so what they want the big romance. They want the show of it. They want to show affection or have affection shown to them. They like gifts. They like to be made to feel special. And so they want to be romanced by a partner who's willing to make them front and center. Oh. If they don't get that, I always say if they can either be the best of the best or the worst of the worst, and you will know emotionally when you are not meeting your performer lover's need. Another of the styles is the artist, and the artist, their need is to be creative, and what what they need more than anything else is to have a deep, meaningful bond and an authentic dialogue in their relationships. Almost like that feeling of being one with your lover or one with your partner that some of the other styles don't necessarily have. And so when you're in a relationship with someone and you don't know what their needs are, you assume that your partner's needs are the same as yours and everybody has those same needs, but it's actually very unique and very different to the 8 different brain styles or striving styles.
Well, if you've just joined us, I'm speaking with Dr. Ann Dranitsaris, who's got this amazing new book out. Give us just one more of those, because I think they're so exciting. Tell us another one.
Well, the leader style, it's another one that I like to talk about a lot, because you'll see this in relationship. The leader has a need to be in control. And when they're at their best, they will organize, they'll organize your life for you, they'll make everything easy for you, because they like to, they're the leaders of organizations. They like to do the right thing. They'll take you to the right places, and they will give you the experience that you want to have. But the other side of it is they will do it without necessarily asking you what you want or what you need. So their need to be in control doesn't necessarily include looking at the emotional drivers of the other person.
Wow.
So you can easily feel controlled by them, but you can also feel very taken care of by them.
So how once we, understand who we are in this, I mean, I tend to feel like sometimes it's nice to have a like mind. I mean, my husband and I, we both run 180 miles an hour. We both are kind of, we like to experience life, and it just has made life so much nicer.
Yes.
We both understand what we both need and want. You know what I mean? Yes. So is that really the ultimate goal here, is to try to understand what works best together?
It is understanding what the other person needs that might be different than yourself, and it's lovely when you have two people who are, say for example, both goal oriented, both have big lives, and so they may not have the sorts of conflicts that other people have who don't have those big type of lives. But oftentimes in a romantic relationship, we're hoping that the other person is going to meet our needs, as opposed to having a conversation with them and saying, look, this is what I need. This is a non-negotiable for me. Are you able to meet that need for me? And so instead, we just go along sort of telling ourselves that it's going to be okay, and, maybe they'll grow and maybe they'll develop. But down the road, the conflict just becomes too large, because you're not talking about what it is that you need. People are afraid to, and so they just hope for the best.
Well, no, I agree with that, because I speak to more women who say, well, he's just this and this. And I said to them, did you not know this before you married them?
I knew it, but I was hoping that once we settled down,
right,
you
or that he would change,
and and it doesn't work that way.
No.
People have to become more comfortable just saying, this is what I need, and in order to do that, they have to know what their predominant need is. And so Who Are You Meant to Be, the book, is all about helping people understand what the emotional drivers, their emotional needs are, so that they can start talking to people about them, particularly in their primary relationships. It works great with kids as well, because kids easily pick up on, I do need this, and I can ask for it because I need it. By the time we become adults, we're told that it's not okay to be needy.
Right. Well, hey, I love this title. I've said it already. Who Are You Meant to Be? And the author, Dr. Ann Dranitsaris. I mean, this is fabulous. Thank you for joining me. I hope you'll come back, because there's just so much information.
I would love to, and thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you. Go get it if you don't own it yet.